Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Payne, and welcome to another great Pure Cars webinar. Today, we are going to have a very exciting topic that I'm looking so much forward to sharing with you guys. We're going to be talking about the best practices for analyzing and understanding dealership performance. So we're going to jump into that. I know that sounds like a mouthful, but again, I'm super excited to have you guys with us. So let's move forward and talk about that in more detail. Again, that's me. I am Kevin Payne. This is a picture of me. Hold on one second, guys. We're going to make sure that we can make sure everybody can hear and see what's going on with the webinar. There we go. Here, we'll go back because I want everybody to see this picture. It's one of my best selfies. I don't do a lot of them, but one of my better ones. So again, I am Kevin Payne. I'm a strategy manager here at Pure Cars. Actually, in a couple days, it'll be my 2-year anniversary. So I'm very excited. I've been in the automotive business a long time, so I guess I'll be an old car guy is what you would say. So let's jump into it. Today, we are understanding some important things. And what we're going to talk about today is, what do you say to a client when they say that sales are down? How do we respond to that? Or if you are a client, what should you expect to hear from us when you tell us that sales are down? So today's agenda, we're going to understand market factors. So I'll break that down as to exactly what market factors mean, like seasonality and that type of stuff, new versus used. We're going to understand best practices. So we're going to ask the right questions. When you tell me that business is down, now I need to ask you the right questions so I can give you the right prescription to get business back up. Secondly, we're going to do a budget check. We're going to also zoom into the inventory. Inventory plays a key factor in this. Then we're going to build awareness. We're also going to mine the fixed ops department, one of my favorite departments, and then I'm going to have some key takeaways for you guys. So again, I appreciate your time. You guys could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that so much. So let's, without any further waiting, let's go ahead and jump into this. So sales are down. As you can see from this picture, that is a very depressing thing that a lot of people are facing right now. So let's actually talk about the main factor as a market factor as to why sales are down. So what first off we're seeing is NADA is telling us some very specific information that the first quarter is down as opposed to where it was a year ago, as opposed to where it has been traditionally over the last couple of years. So there's a couple things that have impacted that. So we're talking about one of those factors being severe weather. We had a horrible winter on the East Coast and in some places in the Midwest. We had hurricanes throughout the South, and then on the West Coast, we had wildfires raging. All those factors cause sales to be down in different markets across the board. These are factors we cannot control. We had some other uncontrollables. We had a government shutdown that lasted a very long time that caused sales to dip, especially in the Midwest. Additionally, we have right now a trade war happening that has caused dealers to also kind of say, hey, we need to do some things to definitely improve our numbers. And then, of course, the used market outlet now and competition for used market has now turned into Game of Thrones. You got huge battles right now for used cars. So I'm going to help you navigate those waters. We're going to put together a great game plan. One of the things I would love for you guys to do, please come back and look at this webinar. Check out the details and the information we put in here, because it's some great stuff that I really like you guys to see. So we'll go ahead and move right on. Right now, we're talking about, first off, year over year, we're seeing increase in actual what a car costs year over year, up 3%. But then we're also seeing a decrease in incentives. We're seeing more people taking on longer lease terms as well as loan terms. Right now, we have customers going 120 months out, which is outrageous. The reason they're doing that is because obviously vehicles cost more. There's less money in the market for incentives. So this is all from NADA telling us that the gap between new and used is getting a lot bigger. New cars are on the rise, and there's so much more competition for used cars. With incentives decreasing, this is causing a ripple effect of sales being down. So what do we do now? How do we navigate out of these waters? Because they are very, very scary waters. So I'm going to give you some best practices to really help you along and guide us through this. So first off, you see, I like to get to work. I got my arms moving. We're ready to go. So my thing is, when I hear sales are down, I want to ask the right questions. I want to be able to be like a doctor and give you the perfect prescription or playbook you need to get your sales numbers back where you want them. So first off, we're going to start with how long have sales been down? Are we talking a day, a year, a month? Those are very important key factors for us being able to help you out knowing how long they've been down. If it's been a couple days, that may not be such a big thing. If it's even been a month, again, we're talking about factors of seasonality and different things like that that we want to take into account. Next, we want to talk about new versus used. Are new cars down? Used cars down? Are they both down? That's a very, very important thing because as we put together a game plan, it's going to encompass, hey, we may just have a specific game plan for new car, which is completely different than what we're going to do for used car. We may have a game plan for both. So again, these are things that we definitely need to know. For example, let's say new cars are down and we're having a tough time really, really getting the traffic we want. One of the things that I'm going to do is let's look into the customers you already have that love you. So we're going to look at the customers who are up for lease, people that you know that are not upside down anymore. Let's remarket to those folks and talk to them. And we'll dig into that in more detail. So that's just one of my examples. Also, we want to talk about our specific models down. So when we start talking about models, hey, are my F-150s down? Are my Ford Escapes down? All those are models that we want to be able to identify. And when identifying that, when we start digging into models, now we want to get a little bit closer. We want to get more into the details. What's the price to market? If it's a used car, what's the scarcity look like? These are all areas where I want to be able to get the right answer so I can give you all that you need to be successful. Secondly, have there been any changes to incentives or rebates? Very, very important. Right now, we have people like myself. I remember every December is Lexus December to remember. We have customers that wait for that every year and a bunch of other sales events. Myself, I'll give you guys a real world example. Every November, without fail, I wait till Black Friday before I buy a computer or a TV. I will not buy one before then because I want a sale. And customers are no different when it comes to automotive. So they know when certain incentives or rebates are out there that they wait for them. So what can you do to entice a customer to come in when those rebates are not available? One of the things I always recommend is, especially when you're looking at used inventory, how can we make a vehicle more valuable? Well, one of the things I recommend is window tint. On average, you spend about $150 to $200 for window tint. That's what a customer pays on it. Why not include that on a used car and make it more valuable? If a car has an infotainment system, so a touch screen, you got navigation possibly, you got Bluetooth, why not add a backup camera if it does not have one? Again, we're making the car more valuable. We're telling our customer we want you over you going to someone else. We have to remember customers today are conditioned to do Groupon and look for deals. So we need to condition our mind to say automotive is no different. We're trying to put together the best deal. Customers are smarter now, so let's kind of serve them where they're at. Also, we want to talk about, have there been any major changes in the organization? If you are a dealership and you normally have 10 sales guys and now you have 3, I would think that's going to affect your ability to perform. Or has a general manager just left? These are all things we need to know. So now we can start to put together the proper game plan based on what you have to work with now. One of the most important things that I like to talk about, volume versus growth. This is going to be probably the most important question that you can ask. Are you a volume dealer? Are you a gross dealer? And we have some people that think you can do both, but you really can't. This is going to be so important because if you're going on a volume business, now I need to put together a digital marketing plan that's going to give you the ability to get a lot of vehicles out. If you're a gross dealer, now we need to say, okay, what can we do to make sure that you hold the most gross margin per copy? And if for those that are not automotive people, just how can you get the most money out of each car? So I want to custom build a game plan around those things based on your answers. So again, these are the key factors that we definitely want to zero in on, get our arms moving, and get started. So we'll move on and we'll start developing our game plan a little bit more. Next, we talk about doing a budget check. Budget checks are so important. One of the reasons they're important because you may say, hey, sales are down. And let's say you're in Brooklyn, New York, and you are a Chevy dealer. You're telling me I can't get a Silverado out of here, can't get a Corvette off the lot. Well, guess what? I'm looking at your budget right now. You want to expand your geo, but we only have $1,000 to work with. So we're looking at it, that's not going to work. That's like the equivalent of me walking in Ruth Chris and saying, hey, can I get a bone-in ribeye for 12 bucks? They're going to laugh at me and kick me out the store because that's not what they do. That's not the budget that's going to get what I need. So again, we're talking about budgets, and I know you guys can see the screen right now. We've got one of our best tools here at Pure Cars. We actually have Signal on here. This is one of the best things for you guys to have Signal. My hat is off to you, literally. I'm in the room with my hat off, saluting you guys, because Signal is an awesome tool. What it does is it tells you what you are getting as far as ROI out of each channel you're using, and not just our channels, but are you using cars.com? Are you using Carfax? Are you using Facebook Pay? So it gives you an actual idea of where you need to invest your dollars. So you're getting a return on your ad spend by utilizing this tool. So if you don't have it, check out one of our other webinars and get it today. So one of the things I recommend is, first off, when you talk to one of your Pure Cars teammates, actually do a budget analysis check with them. Let's look at your budgets per channel and make sure you're placed properly. One of the things I want to look at, you tell me you want a conquest. If you want a conquest, we need to put dollars behind it to make sure that you are successful. Or you tell me you want to increase your geo. Let's put dollars behind that to, again, ensure your success. These are things we need to do when the numbers are down and when things are slow. We do need to make adjustments to geos or decide to conquest or not conquest or build custom campaigns. But in any regard, we always have to have the right ad spend for those campaigns to ensure your success. So we'll move right along. One of my favorite slides, you see my buddy Homer Simpson here. We got the Echo One. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Ghostbusters, but this is the Ghostbuster vehicle. Each and every dealer has always dealt with this. It's a car that they will never sell. So prior to being a strategy manager, I was actually in the field, and I was with a Ford dealer in Alabama. He had a purple Jeep Cherokee. He called it Purple Rain because nobody would buy it, and it was this odd color purple. So we actually had to put a custom campaign together to get that car off the lot. So these are the things you need to start thinking about. Instead of saying, hey, this is a limit, it's got a birthday, because we know we want people to have birthdays and not cars. You need to start thinking about, what do we got to do to get this one off the lot, or these 10 off the lot. Also, when we zoom into inventory, you'll see this is the Pure Cars inventory targeting system built in our wonderful dashboard. Some of the things it's going to give you is, it's going to tell you, first off, one of the most key important things, price to market. So for this example, this particular car is 200 over market. That may not be that bad, especially if you're a gross dealer. Or if you're volume, the 200 is something that we can navigate. What are you using to price your cars? That's going to be important as well, that you actually have a tool set up to price your inventory. Secondly, we're going to look at the days on lot. Again, let me say it again. We want people to have birthdays and not cars. So we don't want cars to stay on your lot. So what I want to do is basically increase your days turn. So I want you to be able to turn inventory faster. Again, we'll cycle back to, are you a gross dealer? Or are you a volume dealer? When you are a volume dealer, you should go for the least amount of turn as possible. So that means that we do have to be very price friendly. If we are a gross dealer, we should understand that we're probably going to hold a car a little bit longer to find the right customer for it. But that's okay, because we want to make sure we're getting the most per copy out of that vehicle. So one of the other things I want to point out, day supply. This is an area of opportunity for you. If you have more vehicles than another dealer, you can actually win, because now another dealer is trying to get the vehicles you already have. So now let's build a custom campaign. Let's make sure everything's priced properly. Let's make sure your merchandising is great. Now let's take you to success, excuse me, and getting that vehicle off the lot. So again, these are just weapons and tools we're starting to build into your playbook to help you be more successful. So now, one of my favorite areas, build awareness. So first off, I want to talk about awareness versus on demand. When you guys think of Google search, it's on demand, right? So when I am watching the kids have I have two kids, I have two daughters, and they have their friends over and they want pizza. I have to Google the pizza restaurant to see which one is closest. That's on demand. I need it right now. I don't have to wait. When I'm looking for a TV or something like that, and I'm kind of making up my mind, or I'm looking for a new car, I'm making up my mind, I want to make sure that that awareness is there. So what I mean by that is I spend on average every day about 4 hours on Facebook. So I spend a couple hours in the morning when I first wake up on Facebook and Instagram, checking out, seeing what I missed. I spend a couple hours later on in the day looking at dealer stuff to make sure everything is running smoothly. The cool thing that you want to do as a dealer is be in front of your customer as they are preparing and looking at Facebook. That's a great time. They're already kind of disarmed. They're not in a rush. They're not looking for you. So now be in front of them with a great message. Again, the right message at the right time. So now we talked about building awareness. We want to talk about, first off, are there new body styles or upgrades, right? So if you are a Ford dealer, we know there's a new Bronco. If you are a Chevy dealer, we know there's a new Blazer. What you want to do is now it's time to build awareness on those particular body styles and upgrades. Get those messages in front of those customers as they spend time on Facebook or on Instagram. Again, myself, I spend 4 hours. I'm below the average. On average, people in America spend 8 hours a day on social media. So I'm far below that. But again, it's a good opportunity to be in front of somebody. I'll put it like this. All forms of media are very important. So again, I'm gonna say that again. All forms of media are very important. So TV is important, print is important, digital is important. But here's one of the things that digital can do for you. When I'm on Facebook, it can serve me an ad right away as I'm kind of leisurely looking through things. Whereas if I'm looking through a magazine, you gotta hope that customer picks up the magazine, they go to your page, all that type of stuff. Where again, I can build awareness as a customer just kind of being leisurely and enjoying their day. Secondly, we want to talk about, are there any holiday incentives or specials or top performing inventory? Again, top performing inventory is your area of opportunity to win. I remember when the Nissan GT was new, a lot of people were going crazy for the car because it was a top performing sports car. So this is again for you to build awareness and start putting out different statistics about the car as to how it performs. Has all wheel, has four-wheel drive. All those different things are your areas of opportunity to win a customer over. Plus, when you're building awareness, it's one of the best places to conquest. Search can be an expensive place to try to conquest competition, where if you utilize social, display, video, these are all much cheaper ways to conquest your competition. I'll put this in perspective. I like to watch a lot of streaming TV. I'll probably watch the most streaming TV in my house. One of the ways I watch streaming TV is YouTube. I watch every podcast you can think of on YouTube. One of the things I notice is before I watch a podcast, I get a commercial every time, a pre-roll commercial. This is a great area of opportunity for you. Again, all forms of media are important, but here's something that YouTube does for you that cable can't do for you. Customers now are going more towards on-demand viewing. So what you're hoping for is when a customer is watching network TV and seeing your commercial, first off, they're on the channels that you're on. Secondly, you're hoping that they didn't DVR it and fast forward you and your ad dollars. Where if you are utilizing YouTube pre-roll, you're right there. It's a quick hit right before the customer's content starts. And now you're in their head and they remember, hey, you know what? I do want a new Range Rover. It's time for me to treat myself. I'm gonna go on down to Range Rover USA and I'm gonna buy a new one today. Now you're in front of the person with the right message at the right time. Customers on social media, looking at family, keeping up, seeing how their cousin's doing, seeing how their girlfriend's doing. Again, you got to add right there in the news feed. You're in the right place at the right time in front of a customer. And now they're saying, wait a minute, you know what? I do need to trade my car. I'm so sick of paying for all these service bills. Let me do that. So again, this is a great area of opportunity. I highly, highly recommend that you guys take advantage of it. Plus, the cost is so much lower than any other channel that you can utilize. So we'll go ahead and we'll move forward. We're going to talk about fixed ops. If you guys know anybody here at Pure Cars, I am the fixed ops guy. They know the most about me as far as fixed ops. Looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Hold on real quick, guys, and we'll make sure we work it out for you. We are trying to make sure that everything is moving smoothly. And I apologize about the technical difficulties. It seems like the software is frozen up on us. but we will get it worked out. I promise you that. So I'm gonna just move on. The cool thing is we'll share this deck out with you guys. I apologize you can't see it, but that's okay. We'll move on. No worries. You're in great hands with Kevin. So what happens is we're talking about fixed ops. Everybody that knows me around the office knows I actually have a fixed ops background. That came from me working with service departments to help them with direct mail, email campaigns, different things like that. So I learned op codes. Like one of the ones I'm gonna give you guys a secret. Hopefully, since a couple of dealers, on the phone, they'll validate this secret. LOF is the op code for oil change. You can always sound smart. You say, hey, let's do a certain $79.99 LOF because they know it's an oil change. So fixed ops is one of those departments that you can actually utilize to really help your business out. So you can mine that department. When what you can do by mining it, as customers come in for service, this is a great opportunity. So I come in for an oil change, but I need like 4 other things done. Those 4 other things add up to about $500. And I'm like, well, I was only prepared to spend my $40 for an oil change and not the $500. So what you can do is you can actually have your team talk to that customer and say, hey, would you mind if we ran a trade assessment on your vehicle? Because I see that you're getting ready to spend about $500 or more. Let's put that $500 into a down payment. We'll buy your vehicle from you, and then that's going to help you be successful. What you get is now you get a used car back, and now you get an opportunity to put a customer in a new car or a vehicle that's new to them, which is invaluable. So I would highly, highly recommend utilizing that as an opportunity. One of the other things you can do here at Pure Cars, you can pull a list of customers that are servicing with you, pull the list from your DMS of customers that are servicing with you, but have never bought a vehicle from you. And now we can remarket to those folks utilizing awareness like we talked about, Facebook. We've also talked about utilizing display awareness. Again, these are areas of opportunity where you can reach out to a client utilizing the tools in your tool belt. So again, let me say it again, we can pull a list of people that are servicing with you that have never bought a vehicle from you and give you the opportunity to remarket back to those folks, utilizing all the channels at your disposal, social, video, search. These are all great areas of opportunity, and I highly, highly recommend that you use all those things to your advantage. So we will move on. Next, we're going to talk about some key takeaways. So if you know me personally, you know my favorite superhero is Batman. I like Batman because he's really smart. He don't really have any special powers, but the coolest thing everybody thinks is the car. It's not the car, it's the utility belt. And so what these takeaways are going to do, they're going to help build your utility belt. If you're a sports guy, they'll help build your playbook. So what happens is now, first off, we need to define the problem. When we define the problem, we need to decide, hey, are we a volume? Are we a gross dealer? How long have sales been down? Is it new versus used? Okay, hey, new car is down, but used car is up. We're having a tough time acquiring inventory. I actually had a situation where I had a dealer that was doing great on used car, but struggling on new car. Told me, say, hey, one of my problems is I'm only getting 9% of my new car inventory from trade. Can you help me out? Of course I can help you out. Let's build a trade campaign so that we can up that so that you're not depending on the auction for all your used car inventory. And then let's also make sure that we add some incentive cash to that or some dealer cash to it to help customers into a new car. Work like a gym for them. Now the new car sales are back up. Secondly, we want to formulate a strategy. A strategy, you can't move what you can't measure. So you have to have a strategy. So when I like to put together a strategy, I like to go, hey, here's the problem. Okay, used cars are down. Plus, I'm only getting customers that are credit challenged. One of the things I want to leave you guys with, when people come in, they have a 600, they already don't feel great about it. Let's call them credit challenge. Let's not say anything else but credit challenge, and we're here to help you build your credit back up. So let's handle a customer in that way. So what we'll do is we'll formulate a plan. Let's utilize the customers that are coming to you. So if you got a lot of 600 to 590 credit scores coming in, instead of turning them away where they go to buy here, pay here, let's have them do business with us. Let's put them in a car they can't afford. Let's talk about what they need in a down payment. Now let's put together a custom strategy to reach those folks. But what I'm also going to do is say, hey, let's add some budget to reach the people that have a 720 that live 3 zip codes away from the dealership that are not in your geo. Now we've got a strategy we can work. So again, we got to formulate a strategy and then work that strategy. Lastly, we got to give it time to do its thing. So my granny used to always tell me, son, you don't want to eat a cake when it's not done. So one day I went to cook a cake. I put it in for 2 hours. I thought I was smart. I turned the heat up, thought it was going to come out good. Cut the cake. What did it do? It oozed out. Why? Because I didn't give it time to do its thing. And the same thing is going to happen with your strategy. You have to give it time to do its thing. So you have to let the time develop. When you talk to your Pure Cars teammate, you can't expect that the next day all the problems are going to be fixed. It takes time. We got to give it really, I like to give some of these, depending on the strategy, I like to give it 30 to 60 days, sometimes 60 to 90 days, depending on what we're doing and what we're going after. So that's one of the things that we want to do. So let's kind of recap. We want to define the problem. So we want to ask the right questions. We want to provide the right answers. Next, we want to formulate a plan. Let's put together our utility belt and be successful like Batman. So how are we going to move going forward? What's the strategy? Who are we going to target? And again, I will always tell you as a dealer, it's a wise idea to take care of your backyard first before you go looking for new opportunity. I'm going to give you a nugget from my granddad. He used to always say, son, a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush, and he's so right. You want to make sure that you take care of home first. Now we can go in conquest and do extra and put together custom campaigns. So again, in formulating that strategy, we also want to make sure we have the correct budget in place to support that strategy. Lastly, we want to give it time to do its thing. Nobody likes raw chicken. We all want it done. Nobody wants a half-baked cake. So we got to give it time to do its thing. And when you give it time to do its thing, when you talk to your teammate from Pure Cars, and again, I call them a teammate. We got all these fancy names, strategy manager, digital strategy manager. They're really your teammate because they're an extension of your dealerships. That's why I say teammate. Instead of, and I understand we have our titles and that's great, but that person is an extension of your dealerships. They are your teammate. So we want to agree with our teammate. What is the exact amount of time we want to give this strategy to work? How many times are we going to meet to ensure our success and measure where we're going as we develop the strategy? So that's one of the things that's going to be important too. Meeting with your Pure Cars teammate and saying, how are we doing? Let's check in. Did we move the needle? Did we get a little bit further? I promise you, if you follow these 3 principles, you will be very, very successful. So again, as they say in the wonderful world of radio, or they even say in the wonderful world of comedy, when you're on stage, that's my time. But I am here to answer some questions. With that, I'll open up the questions. Again, I really appreciate everybody's time. And we'll give it a minute for you guys to type your questions. And as you guys are typing questions, of course, Pure Cars, again, your leading team in digital marketing. You'll see this is our whole team in the background right here. I'm somewhere off in the back right here. They covered my picture up, but that's okay. You guys have my picture in another part of it. Actually, I'm right here. If you guys see my mouse, that's me right there. So I did get this one question. Someone wanted to ask about, again, I had a client that had only getting 9% of used car inventory on trade. So what do we do to help them out? So for that particular client, what I did is first I defined, okay, if you get a 9% of used car inventory, that's telling me that you don't have enough inventory to even run CPO. And this was a franchise dealer. He said, no, I don't. For those that don't know, certified pre-owned. So I said, okay, let's look at your inventory. So we went on this website and we started looking at the inventory. I said, sir, I noticed that basically 60% of your inventory is sub 10,000. So does that tell me you got a lot of credit challenge customers? He said, yeah, I got a lot of credit challenge people, but I also have people that come from about 40 miles away, 50 miles away to buy some of my pickup trucks. I said, oh, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Let's start to, first off, mind your service department. Because I said, how's service? He said, my bays are full. I have to turn people away. I said, well, why don't we do this? Every RO that's over $500, so at the $500 cap or over, let's run a trade assessment. Because when someone drops $500, they got money for a down payment. And they probably want a car that they're, you know, a newer car. They're in a situation like me. I have an older car. I'm tired of it. It doesn't have new car smell anymore. I want something different. A lot of people feel like that. So let's first off look at where they at. So I said, first off, again, let's go with that $500 cap. Once you run a trade assessment, let's go ahead and let's do a test drive while they're waiting on their vehicle, because most times the RO isn't checked out and ready to go right away. Or for those that are dropping their cars off, how about you put them in a newer vehicle, the same one you had? You say, hey man, I love that idea. It works. So that was our first part, implementing that trade offer. Our next part of the strategy was saying, hey, I do want to hit those guys that are coming from 40 to 50 miles out to buy pickup trucks. Great. Let's put together a custom campaign conquesting on makes that are similar to yours on pickups. Let's run that in social and let's run it in video. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a brand awareness as to why your pickup trucks are great and what they have to offer. We're not going to trash the competition. We're just going to talk about the great features that yours had. He happened to have a pickup truck that had a step ladder. I was like, hey, a lot of people need a step ladder when they get a pickup truck. That's very important. So those were the things that we started to do. Then we said, okay, how long are we going to get this cake time to bake? So let's give it 60 days. So we agreed on 60 days. 60 days later, phone calls had doubled, sales had went up, as well as he even had more service business, and his CSI score went up in service. And that wasn't even something we were trying to do. So you can see you can get some positive results out of doing these things, and those results may be some things that you didn't even plan on. Plus, because we were starting to run different offers, we used social and we used video, we started to see him getting more followers, which was something that was a positive for him as well. Again, because we were utilizing the ad dollars in the right place at the right time. So long story short, he was happy. We were able to really help move the needle for him, and he was able to acquire more used cars because he was doing more trades. So again, if you guys have more questions, reach out to Pure Cars directly. We'll send this deck out to you guys. We really appreciate this time. First off, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. We'll share this webinar recording with everybody. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out to me by email. My name is Kevin. It's actually Kevin P. at Pure Cars. I'm so used to saying that. But you can also email our representatives in the Pure Cars marketing department as well, and they'll get those answers to you. Again, I so much appreciate your time. This has been Kevin Payne with Pure Cars. Look forward to joining you guys in another webinar in the near future.